Day 10, part 2. What have I done today? I feel like a fair bit. One of the hard things was choosing a uniform, to be honest. So we used to use a certain type of uniform. This is one of the t-shirts and there's another type of t-shirt. They made me sweat. So I was just trying to choose a fabric that didn't make me sweat.
This is The Sales Game with Josh McKay, helping solo business owners sell more, make more, and work less.
I leaned towards something with a bit more cotton in it, but if you went too much cotton, then they wear faster and they don't look as new and crisp. So that actually took an hour and a half, and I drove there and drove back. I was trying to do it online. I probably spent 2.5 hours. But now that we've got the uniforms, we've got the design, what color scheme we're going to go with and what logo we're going to apply to each uniform, that's sorted. So now that's a process. When we onboard someone, we can just give them a choice of different colors and what size they want, and that's it, which is cool. So I also applied for the American Platinum Business Card. We'll see how we go, because I've applied for a loan late last year and the credit score took probably about 100-point drop. Maybe not 100 points, but like 60 or 70. And it looked like it was still dropping. So I am curious to see if we get it. I also probably want to go and do the credit line applications with the stock suppliers pretty soon, but at least I'll have the Amex. If I can't get that, I think it should be okay once I start putting some cash through. I'm hoping that I can build up both credit lines at the same time to give myself more access to more credit. So that is the only reason I'm using the Amex. I don't really like how they can just choose at any given time to change their balance on you, and it's not really that flexible of a payment turnaround because you're going to pay it cycle of the next month. And it can cause problems like maybe you get away with it for a month or two without realizing that you have cash flow issues, but then month 3, month 4, you start like, hang on, I'm not making the Amex, what's going on? And so unless you're on top of your finances, it can be very dangerous. So if you get an Amex, at least if I'm getting an Amex, I'm really going to make sure that the person that I'm having look at my cash flow and how the health of the business is going is pretty proactive in that. I have also done some of the initial setup of the CRM. That was a bit of a pain in the ass too, because Jerry's in Philippines. He went to register an account. They got set up with the US data center instead of the Australian data center, which we need in the Australian data center. It was a bit of a miscommunication there, but that slowed me down quite a lot as well. And now we've had to migrate 2 email addresses over from US to the AU, so hopefully that won't be too much of a pain in the ass, but it has delayed that setup a little bit. It's not going to stop me from being able to build the CRM though, which is good, and it's not going to stop Jerry from doing it. Just slowed me down today. Shit happens. You have an idea of the way things are going to go, and I'm staying a lot of faith and optimism in it, but also totally aware that things are going to happen along the way that I wasn't anticipating, as has already been the case pretty much every day. Like the name change that we had to do that delayed us about 48 hours. I mean, I'm day 10, it's still pretty early days, so delays are a large percentage of where we're at perception-wise now, but in the grand scheme of things, that's what I'm thinking about. I definitely need to get out there and do sales, because now, we're down to 8.5 grand in finances, spent about 2 grand, and looking at having to pay Jerry, which is going to be $2,700, at least the first fortnight. It's only half of that, whatever it is, $1,700. And also got to pay for leads, which is actually $2,700. So there's the better part of 3.5 grand, and then stock order will be about 4 grand. So as it is right now, buying leads and doing the first stock order, cash is pretty much tied up. So I'm hoping the Amex comes through, or one of the credit suppliers. Bearing in mind, I will get deposits from customers as well. If I get sales, I'm not worried about if I get sales. Yeah, so that's just some things that I'm thinking about and trying to be proactive in solving, making sure the money's going to be there so we can fulfill. There's not too much upfront costs. I think some of the development costs that I would have liked to have done, I want to make sure that cash flow for the stock purchasing is sorted before I do that, because there's probably another 2 or 3 grand of developing connections between software. And those are very important things, but we can work without them for a few months. So I'm going to wait till there's money there to do those things. So definitely priority is CRM build, website build. The commercial leads will start coming through in probably 4 to 6 weeks. But the residential leads, I really just need the CRM to be built from that. So that's going to be my focus. I have been thinking about a slightly different layout of the CRM, because we will be getting appointment setters in and then salespeople. So just thinking about maybe a slightly different way of designing it. I will do that as I'm developing it though. I'll think through that as I'm actually doing it. I'll probably think about it in my spare time as well, but that's just something that I'm thinking of. I used to just have all the leads in one section, so leads to sale was in one section because one person was managing it. But it might be better to have a separate section for leads, and then when they become a qualified lead, to have that for salesperson. I could also break that off at the time we get an appointment setter on, because I think the first thing I'll do is get a couple of salespeople, because we'll have leads coming through. We just would like to introduce a person to qualify those leads, and that way we can start getting leads from various sources and make sure that there's someone who's spending all of that time and getting really good at just that aspect of getting a lead to an appointment, essentially. There's specialization in that. I'm reading a book called Predictable Revenue at the moment, and honestly, it's a little bit dry for my taste. I don't know the girl reading it. It's an audio book. The girl reading it she's upbeat and happy, but it's just the same type of almost fake personality the whole way through. And I find myself losing concentration, and maybe it's a book that I need to read physically. So anyway, the predictable revenue is just talking about, exactly what that is having predictable revenue and not being up and down, and not scaling up based on salespeople, because that's not a scalable model, as we all probably have experienced. That you think, I got 10 salespeople, I want 10 times double the revenue, so I double the salespeople, but you have to double the leads. And then you could really make salespeople more effective by getting just one person managing 2 or 3 salespeople's leads. That salesperson can then spend all of their time in sales consultations and make them much higher value, which would make the appointment set up an extremely good investment. At the moment, I've got someone setting appointments for us. I just know there is probably 30% of shit appointments. So I'm going to be the one filtering through that, and initially the salespeople. So I've got that built in for now, but I want to build that in so we can take on additional lead sources, and then that appointment set up, we'll be able to filter the leads even from these appointment setting leads too, just to qualify and make sure we're good to go. One other cool thing is, we've got an old friend who has a solar business here. They do a little bit of residential, and he reckons that he's got a system where he uses artificial intelligence to generate them leads. It sounds pretty hands-off. We're going to catch up on Friday to have a chat about that, so that'll be super cool, and I'll share with him how I'm getting exclusive leads and commercial leads, and just and maybe I can talk about the CRM and just the sales process as well, and see how much margins he's getting. I'd like to provide as much value as I can to him as well, so we can continue that relationship long term. Sounds a lot of fun collaborating with another solar business owner. So that's where everything's at. That's what the day is done. That's what we're thinking about. And tomorrow, I'll basically, after a good night's sleep and a fresh outlook on the morning, and after I've had a bit of a think about the CRM, I'll share what our plans are for the day. And as I have been, continue to involve the video aspect of the build to document the whole process. Till then. And hopefully soon, I'll be wearing my own branded solar uniform.